welcome. This is my favorite mortgage podcast. I am Jamie Booth, a licensed loan officer in Arizona and in Texas. Want to welcome everyone for listening today. We have a really important special guest. We have Victoria Lem with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate the invitation.
This is exciting times right now.
It is.
We've got some crunch times because you're doing something, even though you're a realtor,
Yes.
licensed realtor, you're doing something unique to help the better good of our community.
Absolutely.
You're running for city council.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, running for city council, are you thinking maybe just as I began running for city council, or what that does, what it entails? There's so many different aspects of it. One of the reasons that I actually ended up running for city council is because I'm a realtor. I drive around every single day. Mm-hmm. I see how our city has changed. I've been a realtor for 9+ years, and I've watched my city change over those years. Yeah. And as I've gotten more involved in the community, in understanding who runs our city, yes. what controls it, and what impacts those decisions that they make in our community, I began really getting more knowledgeable and decided it was something that I needed to step into in order to change our community. As
to really
a realtor,
make an impact.
It's really difficult to sell homes when there's encampments behind them. It's really difficult to sell commercial real estate as well, because I'm also a commercial realtor, when I have to ask someone or call 911 because somebody is not responsive out in the parking lot or right up against the door of the establishment I'm trying to show at that point. Yeah. So a lot of those things really impacted my decision to get into this atmosphere, this political atmosphere here. It's not something that I've always aspired to do. Right. It's not something I grew up saying, I'm going to be a politician, and I would really hope that no one ever accuses me of being a politician still.
No, you're a change maker.
I want to make some changes.
Thank
you.
Wow, that is amazing. And I'm so proud of someone in our industry taking those extra steps to become very public, front and center. Have your I drive by the roads all the time. I'm like, there she is. Oh, there she is. I see your political signs to get out and vote, and I'm huge on voting. I have been voting since the day I turned 18. Okay. And I've done either the mail-in ballots or just I can tell you every president-elect I've ever voted for. So when we met just last week, I'm like, would you like to come on? Mm-hmm. We talk about mortgages and silly stuff, but
no, those are really important because this is part of the American dream. Right. But you can't have the American dream if you don't have your rights and all of the things the Constitution gives to us, right? So, and in order to continue having that, you need to elect people into the city, the county, and your states and country who will fight for those rights.
Yeah. So you're going to be running for Ward 1, right? In Tucson.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you don't have to necessarily live in this ward to be able to vote.
Correct.
And the mail-outs have gone out?
So the ballots have been all sent out. October 11th was the mail-out date. So if you haven't received them by now, then you should be questioning where they would be. And you can head down to the Pima County Recorder's Office, give them a call, see where those ballots are. But otherwise, there should be a really bright green envelope that's in your mailbox.
Yep.
And you'll fill that out and you'll pop it back into your mailbox or head down to a post office or the county recorders or an election office.
Postage paid.
Yes.
So
it's nothing that you have to go hunt for.
Yes.
A post stamp or anything like that. So it's the easiest business. I actually had a guy the other day, a firefighter no less, tell me, I asked him if he was going to vote for me, and he said, it's so long, it's so hard to vote, I'm really lazy. And I said, it's a mail-out ballot. And he goes,
Right.
oh, well, then I'd still have to find a stamp. And I said, you don't have to find a stamp.
Right.
And he goes, okay, well, how are you going, if I, okay, this sounds a little easy. So if I vote for you, what are you going to do for me? And I said, well, you're a firefighter. So the first thing I would do was make sure that you had something better to do than respond to bus stops all day long. And he goes, sold. You're sold, because they're constantly responding to bus stops because there's people setting up camps and passing out and using drugs out on those bus stops. And so he's constantly responding to bus stops. So just being knowledgeable in what each of our city helpers and all the different roles are out there is important. So that was important to him, and he said sold.
Sold. I could only imagine now that I'm thinking about it how our first responders, you know, because I drive all over town. I know realtors drive 5 times more than I do, and you see it all over town. And yes, I completely agree. In a very short time frame, I'm saying 5 years or less, the entire dynamic, or not dynamic, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, the atmosphere is completely changed.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. Just
our environment is just completely different. From having, 1 or 2 encampments here or there and watching them not last very long, or going into parks and seeing that there's things like, happening there. Then originally it was, okay, there's, a homeless park, maybe Santa Rita Park on 22nd and 4th, or, the South Side. And people were unfortunately comfortable with allowing it to happen as long as it wasn't in their backyard. Right. Well, my backyard is 12th and Valencia. So this is where I live. This is where I grew up.
So you grew up seeing this.
Yeah, I grew up more often than other people. People would say, how do you live on the South Side? That's, it's so dangerous down there. And it had gotten better after I tell people all the time, in the late 80s, early 90s, we had a lot of gangs and gang violence, a lot of shootings, and a lot of them happened on the South Side in my ward. I lost a lot of friends then. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and, just acquaintances from school all the time. There was people getting shot all the time. But we watched it get better. We had some good leadership. We cleaned up our streets, and we saw things improve. So when it was time for me to buy my house 19 years ago, I purchased 3 minutes away from my parents because my dad was going through some medical issues, and I thought I need to be close to them. And this is just where I need to be, right?
It was home.
And it was okay at that point. But watching my kids grow up and then seeing how things have changed, hearing the helicopter, watching people live under the bridge, setting fires, robbing all of the corner markets, being in Walgreens at 12th and Valencia and watching people come in with giant bags, just grabbing things and walking out. And I asked the cashier, I said, I'm so sorry this is happening. Does this happen often? And she said, that one lady that's in here right now comes in here 4 times a day.
Holy cow.
So it's not uncommon. She's like, I'm just so sorry you're having to deal with this.
She's just used to it.
And I told her, I'm going to do everything that I can to change this environment. That's not where you should be. You should feel comfortable going into work every day as a safe Walgreens cashier, as a pharmacist. In that corner, there's Whataburger, Jiffy Lube. You should feel okay going to work every day. You shouldn't have to fear the environment is going to be the one that hurts you, right? Our city council and our mayor right now have everything to do with the safety. That is one of their number 1 priorities and it's being neglected. And the decisions that they're making are impacting and allowing this to happen.
Well, this is time where people can have a voice and vote for someone who feels the same frustrations, and I can sense it. I felt it just meeting you last week, how your desire to change you've got an uphill battle, my friend,
It is.
because it's progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And I'm not talking just over years. This is short time frames
Really fast.
where I'm driving home, I come to a red light. Maybe there was one or two people with a sign over a year, a couple times. Now it's every day, and the group is getting bigger, and they have animals, and they have these shopping carts, and this is my home, this is my neighborhood, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to help them. I don't know if it's, giving them the money, or, sometimes I have an extra, I'll buy an extra hamburger. But I think that you're touching the surface of where it really needs to start, and that's with our elected officials.
Yes, absolutely. There's some really devastating underlying issues that these people that are on drugs, I call them fentanyl encampments.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people end up homeless for one reason or another, maybe couch surfing, or somebody lost a job on hard times, a single mom just, couldn't make the rent that month. That's a very different story.
That's a temporary
than, yes, and somebody that is willing to do a lot in order to make sure they get out of that.
Right.
And there's a lot of help out there for those people. But the people that we're really talking about are the ones that are creating these fentanyl encampments, or these they're using meth, or they're using tranquilizers now.
Very dangerous drugs.
Very dangerous drugs. And because we have such an infiltration of them, we're so close to the border, the fentanyl pills now are less than 50 cents a pill.
Oh my God.
Even last year they were like $1 to $3, and now they're less than 50 cents a pill. And when you hand out money to them out on the street, it really helps them to just, if somebody hands a 20.
Oh God, no, it's never been a 20. I need that 20.
But imagine if they only stand out there for a few, hours, they're going to be, they have a possibility of just going back to their encampment or wherever they're going to use the drugs, because you see it everywhere.
I feel bad for the dogs or the pets that they have with them. I'm like, it's 110 degrees.
And some of those dogs are ending up in veterinary care immediately because they're going into seizures. Because if you can imagine, if they get into any kind of pill bag, if they pass out, there's residue. All sorts of different things have been happening to some of these poor animals out there. So you would think, so in the county there are some really cool signs that they've just put up with the help of Tucson Crime Free Coalition. They recommended this sign that went up. If you've seen any of them, it says, "Say no to panhandling, say yes to supporting
resources."
Some of the
You're right. I have seen that. I haven't seen a lot of them, but I did see that one within the last 2 weeks or so, and it's a great reminder for the people driving. And I know especially in the summer, I feel so bad for the pets that they have, and that it's 100 and something degrees here. So
I feel bad for these people, right, as well. They're living in toxic waste, whether it's the drug paraphernalia, the drugs, the feces, the urine, all of these things that are happening out there. It's a very toxic environment to continue to support. And our city council, unfortunately, we've found that there are situations such as in Esteban Park where our city council and mayor has funded them $75,000 worth of funding of a grant to help the encampment installing cell phone charging stations, helping assist with cleanup of this. A lot of people are very shocked, but they're very blatant about it. They announce these things in their city council meeting. The problem is that normal citizens like you and I are working at the time that the city council meetings are happening. They start around 5 o'clock so every other Tuesday in the evening they have these meetings, but at the end of the day, you're going home or
making dinner.
Like us, we're still showing properties and we're still closing deals.
Yeah, exactly. Like that doesn't end at 5.
I know, but we're occupied. We've got families, we've got t-ball, we've got all sorts of different things that are happening.
Right.
But that's what's happening.
And no C-SPAN for Tucson that is gonna show it.
And it's not that popular, right? Nobody's gonna watch it for 4 hours and then hear what's happening. And that particular encampment got so big, there was over 80 people in there, and it was right along the railroad tracks, and there was all sorts of different situations that were happening.
Is this the one over by the Air Force Base?
This is not, that's the 100-acre wood. That's a really big one. Really big. There is even cars in there.
Yes.
There's vehicles in there. They're now starting to put up stanchions, posts.
I saw those
to try
going up.
To try to
Prevent
deter the cars from going in there. But this is right up along the backside of an entire neighborhood.
Right.
And this is in our wash. One, it's dangerous for them in case of flash floods.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it's dangerous for our water sources. There's feces, there's toxic waste that are going into our water beds.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a dangerous environment for them. Why are we promoting and allowing these things to happen? It's dangerous for the people that are living in there. They're committing crimes against each other. They're robbing each other. They're passing out. They're raping. There's just the other day there was somebody shot under a bridge. It was issues that were happening between them.
Their own community.
Yeah. And I've been told over and over by the people who support these communities that they say, well, they have their own laws. They kind of exist on their own laws, and everybody, kind of gets along. And if they have a person there that doesn't get along, they kind of move them out of there. But look at what's happening. I mean, what kind of laws we're going to be preventing them from shooting each other? If you believe that they're going to abide by their own laws while they're doped up on whatever they're on, and they're going to follow those rules when they don't follow the Tucson city rules, you're living in a completely different realm, and it must be nice to live in that realm.
Well, I commend you for, even going down this path, because a lot of us will say, well, what can we do? And you've actually taken the steps and the courage to be front and center, running for an office. I'm sure there's people had to do some digging and on your background, and you're just there. Front and center. So I'm very proud of you. This is a huge step, and I really hope that we can do something.
Thank you.
And I know it's a struggle.
It has been nerve-wracking, especially as I was getting those phone calls from my political party saying, Victoria, there's no one to run against this person. We've asked you for years. Can you run?
Just do it. Bite the bullet.
And I really had to talk to my family, my kids, my parents, my God, because my parents are 80 and 92 right now. So my mom will turn 80 tomorrow. We just celebrated her birthday yesterday. And
happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, thanks. My dad will be 93 at the end of the year. And I attend his medical appointments and those kind of things with them, so it was important for me to ask them if this is something that they would support, and it was emphatic yes. And from my children as well. They've lived in this home. They know how important. They watch the helicopters. My daughter unfortunately said she calls the helicopter her lullaby. She's considered that as it's time for bed, because it must be too late. Yeah, the helicopter's out.
Wow.
So that's, and now it's sometimes during the day. I've left my house and watching police officers with long guns run across the street, chasing after somebody at 10 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. These things happen. But so that is what caused me to not necessarily have the courage, but just the complete frustration, and say, you know what? My background, my whatever, my business, I'm a single mom. There's no other income. If I do not make money in real estate and continue in this career path, I don't have a way to support my kids. But if I do that and do nothing about this city, how are they going to remain here? What kind of life am I going to create for them going forward?
That makes sense.
And for my neighbors, and for the people I sell homes to and for,
people
and commercial properties, the businesses. If I can't create the atmosphere where I feel proud of the city that I'm selling in, then I don't have anything. And so it was worth the risk. It was worth
the extra
pushing
time
and just digging down and saying, you know what, you've got to do this, because there's nobody else.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I always, wonder how people get into it. And I know I felt the same frustrations. I wouldn't even know. I don't have anyone saying, "Hey, Jamie, why don't you, why don't you run?" No, they probably are sick of me. But
I complained for a long time, and
yeah,
I hear from my God saying, if you keep complaining and you don't do anything about it with the gifts and the talents that I've given you, then what is it for?
Yeah.
So here I am.
Really powerful
just being
stuff.
Obedient.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I haven't gotten mine in the mail yet. I always do the mail in, most times.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'll send a picture when I throw it in the mailbox.
Exciting times.
Because I agree with a lot of things that you're standing on, and I feel the same frustrations. And I'm glad I was able to talk to someone on a personal level on why you're here and why you're in this. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and that we can make a difference.
Thank you.
Because it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
You're helping right now by spreading the word, by just our meeting last week. I feel always that God places us in different areas for a reason, to meet people. It's just meant to be. And so you have the same frustrations, and you're saying, I don't do anything about it, but you're doing it right now.
Aww.
You're sharing our story. You're sharing, something that's important to you. You saw that was important to our community, and you had me here. So thanks.
Yeah. I didn't know that the encampment that I drive by every day had a name, the 100 Acre Woods. But I've seen the cleanup twice in 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they come in with the backhoe and take everything out, and by the time I'm driving home, it's piecing itself back together.
Absolutely. And in the situation of Estevan Park, they funded $75,000. They gave it to a group called Splinter Collective that was supposed to help, do these things, install cell phone charging stations, clean up the area. Then it got so big that there was a lot of complaints about it. Tucson Crime Free Coalition, the railroad people, made big complaints, and so the media finally went out there and took a lot of video, and they got a ton of response on this from the general public. So then they had to go in and put notices up and then clean it out. So then that's also a tax dollars.
Yeah, that's
money.
Not cheap. I mean, these were heavy machinery.
It's a toxic environment as well, and so they're having to go in there, hazmat, get all of that.
Oh yeah, the whole gear, I'm sure.
And now they're back again.
So
now they're back again. So it's the same thing that you've seen at 100 Acre Woods, but 100 Acre Woods is huge. It's massive. Yeah. It's not even just this 80 people at Estevan Park on Speedway in Maine. It's massive. So.
Wow. Well, we've got a few weeks. We're going to spread the word. And, if anyone has any questions at all, get to know Victoria. We follow each other on Instagram, but you can always reach out to me at myfavemortgage@gmail.com. Ask away any questions on things that, are important to you. I'll connect you. Even though I do mortgages, but you know what? We're in this together. Tucson is a small, big town, and we need to keep our town flourishing. Absolutely. And I'm so grateful.
Thank you. And if they want to get a hold of me,
there you go. Yes. How do we get a hold of you?
I'm at victorialem.com. This is the campaign website, is victorialem.com. And if they want to email me, they can email me at victorialem.com. Tried to make it as easy as possible for people, but there are other candidates that are running that have the same beliefs as I do. Janet Wittenbreaker for mayor, Ernie Shack in Ward 2, and Ross Kaplowitz in Ward 4. And you can vote for all of us across the city. We all have the priority of cleaning up Tucson and ending these encampments.
Nice.
Immediately.
That's good to know. That's good to know. All right. So before we leave and let Victoria get on her way, my lovely assistant, Andy, just for some fun stuff, because that was a pretty serious discussion. So let's.
I know, I still have a little tears in my eyes here from talking about it because it means so much.
And I can see that. If you can't feel that through the screen, yeah, let me just attest to that. So riddles.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not very good at riddles.
No.
And apparently someone may have a leg up on me. So here's a riddle. What has to be broken before you can use it?
What has to be broken before you can use it?
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a hint. What has to be cracked before you can use it?
An egg.
There you go. Okay. I'm lighter than a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for more than 6 minutes. What am I?
Your tongue? No.
You're so close. Like, you're so close. It's around that area.
Okay.
Lighter than a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for more than 6 minutes.
Oh, geez. Your breath.
Yes. I'm like gonna run out of breath. I can't hold it for more than a minute.
Gotcha.
I guess that's a world record then. 6 minutes? That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's those really deep
I can't
divers.
Go that long. Yeah.
What runs but never walks, murmurs but never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats?
Oh my goodness. So I'd have to look at this one again without the answer.
This
what
one
runs,
is an old school one.
What runs
but never walks.
It's all the same thing.
It's one thing.
One thing. Okay.
Yeah. Has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats.
Oh, I know this one.
So close.
Jeez. Wait. A swimmer?
I know what you're talking about. A fish? A river.
A river. Oh, gotcha. I was like,
I was like swimming. I'm swimming in a river. I don't know.
This is right.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay. Fun.
But you got the egg, right? You know, you did really good. So anyway, thanks again for joining us. We've got Victoria Lem here running for City Council in Ward 1, Tucson, Arizona. If you don't get your mail in, you can always go out and vote. On November 7th is the voting day, so make sure you're registered to vote. And mail outs are out now, so be on the lookout for the green envelope.
There will not be any elections polling places, so there will not be a place that you can go and vote that day. So if you do not get your ballot sometime this week in the mail, then please reach out to the recorder's office and ask them for, a duplicate, or find out where it went, so that you can do that. This is only going to be a drop-off only on November 7th. So that's the last day, and that's election day, and that's when we'll find out how we can change our city.
Are you going to have an election party?
I am. Yes. Do you want to come?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make sure you're on the list.
Heck yeah. We'll stay out till midnight while they count the votes.
Exactly. Or in Maricopa County's case, the next 2 weeks or something. Whatever. It takes a while for them to get it in.
Hopefully they can count past 10. So, again, this is my favorite mortgage podcast. I am Jamie Booth. Thank you so much for listening. You can find us streaming on all major platforms, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, and we are also on YouTube, Jamie Booth. Mortgage Loan Officers, our YouTube channel. We are on TikTok, Instagram, you name it. Come and find us. We'll be more than happy to help. And once the elections are over, we can focus more on the true passion of real estate, mortgages, and home buying. We are here to answer any questions. So we will see you next time. Bye-bye.